One of the first products you should have for your personal brand is a masterclass. This is a product that solves a major problem, a major pain point for your ideal customers. And it's really easy to sell. So today we're going to break down how to create your masterclass, how to figure all of that out, and really how to set the foundation with generating revenue in your personal brand. What's up, people? I'm Coach Chris, host of the Personal Branding Playbook, where I help you build your personal brand and make money from your skills. Now, today we got to talk about the masterclass, and this is one of my favorite products. And I want to be clear about this. I'm not talking about the masterclass where you are telling people, hey, go and sign up for this masterclass and it's some free thing, which is really a webinar where you're just trying to sell something else. No, I'm talking about that. I'm talking about an actual product that you sell, number one. Number two, it helps your audience get to a specific result. So we're going to break down the process of creating that product. So step number one is to find the pain point. What are people struggling with? Like, what's their big problem in your market? And one thing you'll learn after you do a lot of research is there are multiple pain points, and a lot of them are actually really big pain points. That's just the truth of it, right? Your job is to figure out which one is the most pressing issue. Now, I want to say this too. For some pain points, you can't put it all in the masterclass. You know, if you want to build a profitable online business, that's not going to be one masterclass. But if you want to build a website that is SEO ready, that's a masterclass. It's a perfect masterclass, actually. If you want to develop a marketing plan for your podcast, that's a masterclass. You got to look at the masterclass as a way to solve one big problem. Not all the problems of the market, just one big problem. And when you take a step back and look at the list of problems that your customers have, you should really have 3 to 5. Once you list 3 to 5 different pain points, it'll be really easy to see which one is the most pressing issue. When I was doing research with podcasters for years, literally 3 years, I did research with podcast hosts. I've talked to thousands of hosts at this point, at events, online, and Facebook groups, all of that stuff. One thing I learned is that the top 2 issues are marketing and monetizing. But this is the trick. To make the money and solve that problem, you have to have a good marketing plan first, right? You see how it kind of works? Like, you can't have this solution without solving this problem first. So the bigger problem in my market is having a marketing plan for your show. Maybe having podcast assets, building the brand of your show. That's a real big issue a lot of podcasters face. Now, does the problem of podcasters not making money still exist? Yes, it does. But before I can solve that problem, we got to fix this problem over here. So you want to prioritize those pain points. Now, the second step is to get clear on the solution that you provide. Once you figure out the problem that they have, you have to have a clear solution in mind. And I like to use 3, 4, 5-step processes. That is the best way to deliver a solution to somebody. If you want to live a healthier lifestyle, your trainer is going to tell you need to eat better, you need to sleep more, you need to work out consistently. Simple, right? That's a 3-step process. That's how all of this really works. It's very, very simple. Now, the reason why you put your solution together in 3, 4, 5-step processes is because you want your audience, you want your customers to be able to get the result easily. Don't make it complicated and difficult and long. Like, if it's an 18-step process, who's doing that? Like, that's not going to happen. That becomes a course at that point. When it's 5 steps, it's like, okay, I can do that. More reasonable, right? Now, the third step is you have to put this in slide format. Now, this is my favorite step. This is personally my favorite step because it really gives me clarity on how I'm solving their problem. And I think it's a great balance of visuals when you have the presentation, because when you're doing a presentation, it could be you and then they also see the slides, and it's just a mixture. If it's just you talking head like this for an hour, 45 minutes, that could be boring, right? So it's a good balance when you have some nice looking slides. The slides will help you too, because now you can get even more clarity on that solution, on your process. If something's missing or it doesn't make sense, you will see it once you put it on those slides. After you have to spend a couple hours typing it out and make sure it looks good, the clarity is going to be at a different level because you have to put so much time into actually breaking things down. And as a pro tip, you want to make sure, this is so important, you have to make sure when you're putting these slides together, you don't make it too wordy, you don't make it too gaudy. Keep it simple. Don't be extra about it. It's not complicated. What's more important is that you have the right bullet point content on there, the right titles, all of that stuff. That is the most important thing. Now, you can also use the whiteboard for this. If you want to do a whiteboard video, that's fine too. I say slides because I know most people can do that, but whiteboards work as well. Now, the next step, and this is where things get really interesting. This is where you separate your masterclass and you make sure people know it's not some webinar where you're going to talk about yourself or tell some BS backstory. You have to create a worksheet for your masterclass. This is how it all ties together. So you have the solution you're providing, you got all of it broken down on slides, and now you also give them a worksheet. That is super valuable because as you're going through the slides, they're listening to you talk, they're looking at you, they're looking at the slides. They probably can't retain all the information. So you want to give them the opportunity to follow along with the content and the information. And the worksheet should actually help them go on to the next step. So in my last video, I talked about how you need multiple products in your brand, right? And Masterclasses was one of them, right? The Masterclass should be the first part of your brand, right? When you come into my brand, the first thing we're going to do is develop a marketing plan for your podcast. Why? Because I know that's step one before you get monetized over here. So the worksheet that comes with the marketing plan is actually going to position you even more for the next product in my business. Now, the reason why this isn't salesy or sleazy or whatever is because you're literally helping them get to a solution here, which serves them for this solution too, right? So you're actually helping them. One saying I heard a lot that actually helped me personally was selling is serving. And I truly believe selling is a service, because if I sell you this thing that actually helps you get the solution you want, if I hadn't sold it to you, you'll still be where you were. I'm helping you move forward, right? So I'll talk about sales in another video. You want to have the Masterclass workbook actually gear them up for the next steps. So much so in my Masterclass workbook, I even have like the next step is literally, how do you want to monetize your show? What income streams are the most important to you? I talk about that in the marketing book because I want them to know when you're done with this, we're ready to monetize. So again, the worksheet is something you can make on Canva. It's not super complicated. You can go to Creative Market, I think the website is, and go and buy a template from there and use it over and over again. Spice it up for your brand. Boom. It's very simple to do this stuff, man. So the last thing we got to talk about is pricing. I don't want to forget this. I know pricing scares a lot of people. It's complicated. It's difficult. Pricing actually depends on your market. Give you an example. If I create a masterclass for how lawyers right out of law school can find their first job, that's a masterclass that could be expensive because they are a lawyer. They're coming out of law school. When they get that job, they're going to make really good money. I could charge them $500 for that masterclass. It's an hour and a half, and then I'm helping them become employed. $500, they would pay that, no problem. Now, compare that to me working with podcasters. If I told a podcaster, hey, I have a masterclass to help you develop a marketing plan for your show so you can create income streams. If I told them that's going to be $500, they'll look at me like I'm crazy, honestly. And they should. And I'm not saying you should make everything cheap. You should get paid what you're worth, but you have to price for your market. And again, don't price this as if it's a course. That's why, as we talked about, you got other products in your brand that can solve all those other problems that people want. The masterclass I like to use is kind of my second, third level product, right? I have the ebook, which is first, which is going to get you in the door. And then the masterclass is right there to help you get that big result I know you want. So I don't like to price it over $100. I think pricing between $50 and $100 is perfect for most. Now, for other industries, it might be more or less, but I know for the average industry, $50 to $100 for an hour and a half masterclass is perfect, especially when you add in a worksheet and all that stuff. Keep it simple. One more pro tip: don't add anything extra to the masterclass. I know it's enticing to say, well, if I add this thing, it could be this much, and if I add this thing, it could be this much. If I add a consulting session, it could be this much. No, don't do that. None of it. You want to keep the masterclass as something you can sell on autopilot. So if you have Facebook ads running, you can sell it. You can sell it to your mailing list. You can sell it at events. You don't want it to be something where you have to give up a lot of your personal time. That's why we have so many digital products, so we can serve our audience at different levels without using a lot of our time. That's when you have an amazing personal brand. So I want you to think about this masterclass as a way to help your audience solve one major problem. And when you help them solve one of their problems, they're going to come back to you for the next problem and the next one. Next thing you know, you become the thought leader and all of that. You keep helping them. You can build an amazing brand. So make sure you get started on your masterclass now. If you got any questions, check out my new book, The Personal Branding Playbook. It's linked down below. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast or to the YouTube channel. I'm Coach Chris. I'll see you next time.